Chapter 22. Niue, Liku, Kautu Beach. I removed a large shell from the two-tone wet and dry sand, my feet caught in a persistent tide of ankle-deep sea. Giving a quick brush on the edge of this rough crustacean in my hand, it sat now idle and empty, its chalky veneer worn out from its previous use. I placed the shell carefully over one ear and listened to the sound of the sea beyond the sea, hearing that reminiscent fetal lost memory of the amniotic flowing surrounds from where each of our life stories begins in the waters of our mother. Sea breaks in front of me, crashing into rocky reef's edge. My mind was at a moment lost in time to the fibrous ocean's vibration. This shell contained so many stories as it fit quite snug within the palm of my hand. My thoughts turned to my hand, feeling that it also contained the neurotransmitters of the same energy. Yet thoughts were more malleable and alive than the shell. Had this transmitted its energy from one place to another before it left its moment here? Just a shell with its memories transmitting a story about the sea until it returned, I suppose. The mobile phone I had in my pocket seemed to be the modern shell. We had now replaced the turbine conch shell for a battery-powered mobile plastic one. Within its body, it contained the rare Earth's energy from beneath the sea, allowing our thoughts into conversation that transmit waves above and through every one of us. There is always a desire to connect through its electronic waves, find a person in the outside world of ourself. Life attempting to resolve that endless hello, question and answer that carried no fetal memories of oceans. Yet its waves transmit on similar ripples, bounce between repeater towers, like the talking drums from hilltop to hilltop in ancient cultures. Now we had transferred that energy into something else. And in the future, it would be something else. Yet all this technology will rust, decay, and return to the same earthly matter, and will have its story to tell in the next imagination of energy manifesting into form. I placed the shell down and stood on the rock, in a moment of confusion, not knowing what this energy will transform into. Did I leave a shell in New York? I felt that the story between Anna and me was not over. I quickly changed tact in thought and realized the dependence on human universe for knowledge, imagination and creation was merely a reflection of how I viewed myself. New York had its pulse. Niue had its pulse. Everything was living, moving and connecting. I glanced up at the lonely vista of the unpopulated rock edge, continuously pounded with ocean waves, only a short walk from where I stood. The mobile phone had no sound or reception. I placed it in my backpack and decided to return as high tide began raising above knee height. The short walk back to the cavernous, steep concrete stairs of Kautu had traditional canoes poking out from the sides of the steep incline back to the top of the island. These stairs were the subject of Mark's earlier paintings I had seen. I pushed up each step to find the jungle track's grassy car park with odd tyre, half-finished changing rooms and barbecue pit. I walked up the Liku sea track to hear whistling air through the razor-sharp grey rock of the side of the track. I could faintly make out the sound of conversation travelling towards me. A male and female speaking, or was it the wind travelling through the flute-like wormholes in the rock? The sound travels in a light melody and ghostly accent that was neither Niuean nor English. The air of tension built, and beads of sweat trickled down the fine, raised hairs on the back of my neck. There were no people, at least, for another half an hour's walk. Fear of losing sanity from too much sun or alcohol. The concept of ghosts flashed across my sense of reason. I stopped and looked out across the sharp, vine-riddled daggers of rock, static like a million pinnacles reaching to the white, doughy clouds. I looked back to those cliffs, the rock's complex structure, an appearance consisting of not one smooth surface. I kept walking, and could still never forget those people I knew intimately for a month in Brooklyn.